Good afternoon, Los Angeles. As always, a big shout out to all the educators out there, parents, grandparents, guardians, and students. So happy to have you with us in this virtual space. Today, we'll be talking about the reopening of the first 72 schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District, a joyful milestone that has come with some expected bumps. What staff, parents, and students at these sites are going through this week will help all of us who have not yet opened our physical classroom and office doors. Today, we'll talk about some of the reopening issues and revisit all of the critical safety protocols. But let's first uplift some of that joy that the schools are experiencing. One staff member described it this way: "It may not be perfect, but our hearts are perfectly happy." In the harbor, Dinker Elementary welcomed students back by literally rolling out the red carpet for them. So sweet. A PSA counselor who walked a second grader to her first day of in-person learning shared that the student kept repeating, "I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here." A parent from the Valley wrote on Facebook that after her 6-year-old daughter's first day, the mom saw a smile she hadn't seen in the past year, a genuine child smile from being with her friends and teacher in person and remembering what it's been like to be a kid before COVID. At Sunrise Elementary in the East area, a school that reopens next week, one teacher described her community circle question for the morning. The teacher asked her students, "Now that things are opening back up, where would you like to go?" She thought the children would answer with the water park or the movies, but they all said they wanted to go to school. This is a generation of children who will not take school for granted. These stories hit us in all the right places. There is a struggle, there are challenges, but if we center students in all we do, we will get it right. All of this is unfolding in real time. Safety is priority number one, and we all need to be flexible. For safety's sake, every employee in LAUSD will end up doing something they haven't done before and filling in gaps. This is an all hands on deck moment. One of the biggest issues impacting campuses is the huge need for space for the beyond the bell childcare. Across LAUSD, an estimated 300 classrooms will be needed for childcare in the afternoon. Teachers may be asked to work in another classroom with a colleague for their virtual cohort. We all take proud ownership of our classroom space, but childcare is a key component to making hybrid learning work for families and for schools to follow the safety protocols educators fought for and won. We fought for those safety protocols because we know many of the communities we serve have suffered the worst of the pandemic. These families have faced severe economic hardship and unimaginable personal loss, and the disparate impact continues to play out with vaccination rates. In wealthier communities like Bel Air and Beverly Hills, vaccination rates of adults are well in excess of 50 or 60%, while in Watts, Bell, Van Nuys, and Pacoima, they are closer to 20%. Our safety protocols are how we keep our community safer for all of our communities. UTLA leaders met again this week to check on how things are going at reopened schools and to talk about protocols for a safe return and strategies for enforcing the UTLA LAUSD agreement. Let me lay out the three main elements of our safety enforcement plan. 1, every school must have a COVID task force that meets weekly. The UTLA chapter chair or designee serves on that task force along with the school nurse, plant manager, principal, COVID-19 compliance officer, and other staff union representatives. Even if there are no urgent issues, the task force should meet every week. 2, chapter leaders are encouraged to do a campus walkthrough 1 week before a physical return. Your chapter leaders have a safety checklist to make sure all elements of our safety protocols are in place before schools open, and there should be another walkthrough the day before students return to make sure any issues and deficiencies have been corrected. And 3, issues should be reported quickly with the goal of finding collaborative solutions and resolving problems swiftly so that we can all feel confident in the safety of our school campuses. Most issues will likely be resolved at the school site level, but there is a process for higher level action if needed. Once schools are up and running, the safety checklist should be reviewed every day to make sure every safety element is in place in your school. Some schools are having more logistical issues than others. There's no one-size-fits-all answer that works for all campuses, which is why the best solution often happens collaboratively working with your administrator. If that doesn't work, there are protocols to take the issue to the next level. And if we've got to hold the district's feet to the fire, y'all know that we're ready to do that. It can't be said enough, going to school during a pandemic is going to be a new experience for all of us. Let's be patient with each other, with students, and with ourselves. I want to give a shout out to our amazing chapter leaders, chapter chairs, co-chairs, vice chairs. It can be a thankless job, as Lisa Harvey said this week. Y'all are doing the work day in and day out, keeping schools safe and keeping colleagues connected. I see you and I thank you for all you do. And let me put this on everyone's radar. This month is when UTLA members choose chapter leaders for next school year. This is so important. We need every site to have a chapter leader. All the details are on utla.net and are being emailed to members. Chapter leaders have been tested this year like no other. You do this work because you are called to it, because the work is essential, but that doesn't mean it's easy. We see you. I see you. Now on to the calendar for next school year. LAUSD is recommending adding 10 days to next school year. The district's initial idea is to split the time between teachers and school staff for planning and professional development, and time for students to process the trauma and anxiety they've experienced this past year, and to work on learning fundamentals. Let's be clear. The work year is a mandatory subject of bargaining, so the district cannot extend the 21-22 school year without bargaining it with UTLA. There are families and educators on every side of this issue. LAUSD has said that its survey shows that a majority of families expressed an interest in extending the school year. UTLA will be surveying educators next week on a possible extension, and we want every member to participate in this survey. Look for the email next week and be sure to have your voice heard. Now, I am happy to announce a win for our students. This week, LAUSD announced that it is canceling the SBAC, or Smarter Balance Assessment, for this school year for most students. Only 11th graders will take the SBAC for college admission purposes. Elementary grades will use Edulastic and Dibbles, and secondary grades will use Renaissance for math and ELA instead of SBAC. This is good news for our students because we know that a healthy and healing return does not involve students taking stressful, high-stakes tests that are of little use in this unique year of education. We know standardized tests are harmful and wasteful in the best of circumstances. So it was essential that the physical reopening of schools not be compromised by asking students to take the SBAC. UTLA members and parents helped make this happen with our assessment pushback campaign of coordinated emails, texts, and phone calls to reduce assessments. Thank you for your voices as always in amplifying our students' needs in our pandemic reality. And now I say his name, Dante Wright. Another Black man killed at the hands of police. Another father, son, and friend lost. I am beyond disbelief that we are here again. During the Chauvin trial, no less. We are living through too much Black pain and death. I also want to bring into this space uplifting the name of Adam Toledo. He was someone's baby, 13. And I feel very deeply about that. We demand justice and change. And for our essential well-being, we must create spaces outside the trauma. We must uplift Black joy and Black life, not just Black death. Uplifting Black life happens in classrooms across the country every day. When English teachers assign Jasmine Ward, when history lessons deconstruct the political power of the Black Panther Party, when music students analyze the artistry of Kendrick Lamar. Dismantling institutional racism in our curriculum is one element of the work that must be done. Giving space in our schools for Black joy, Black history, Black life, to freedom and abundance, that must happen too. Because we know that a Black life does matter, and art is our form of resistance. Education is resistance. We as parents, educators, and students must continue to work together and fight forward for better days. Have a great weekend, everyone. Many of you will be spending time readying your classrooms and workspaces for a physical return on Monday. It is my hope that you can still find time for rest and reflection. Stay UTLA strong, folks, because together we rise.